You are looking at Venerable School Field in South Bend. This was the site of TV 46's first high school football broadcast, and it's where we'll kick off our 31st season tonight with an old-fashioned city rivalry between Adams and Washington on the 46th game of the week. And how you doing, everybody? Between and we're running the flying wedge here with the Hall of Famers, Bob Nagel and Bo Hunt. It's Chuck Freeby. Great to have you with us. I think you all understand why we're standing 6 feet apart tonight. This has been one long, hard summer for all of us, but now high school football season is here. And Bob, when you look at the Adams Eagles, obviously last year, 0-10, a really tough year on the east side of South Bend. But they've got some weapons back to go with some awfully good young talent.
No question about it, Chuck, and they still have the big play opportunity with Sidney Jeffries, but they've also got a lot of size in that line. And one thing that Antoine Jones and his staff did last year, even though they had a lot of injuries, they couldn't fill some of the gaps, they kept on teaching, they kept on working, and I think they're ready to go tonight.
Todd Stamich's Washington Panthers went 6-4 a year ago. A great first season for him at the helm. He also changed the atmosphere around this team. This is a team with a lot of positive attitude. They'll need it with a lot of new faces.
Well, and that attitude grows when you have winning seasons and a winning attitude, and Todd's done a great job with that at Washington. And again, they've got a lot of athletes that can score on you in a hurry, but I think their defense, their linebackers, secondary is very quick. I think it's going to be a key factor tonight.
As he has been for the last 15 years, the pride of Bremen High School. Bo Hunt working the sidelines for us, the Indiana Football Hall of Famer, was also a baseball coach in his day. So you well understand what these coaches have gone through. This isn't only about X's and O's tonight. It's about sanitizing and trying to make sure kids are doing the right thing. How tough has it been for these coaches?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now from personal experience, just the extra precautions, the extra things that a coach has to do with temperature checks and sickness and watching for signs and different things. It just goes up and beyond of what the normal day is, and not just trying to get them ready, but the emotional aspect that they have to deal with these kids as well, trying to keep them motivated. From day to day, they never know if their season's going to continue or not. So to try to keep them motivated, try to keep that goal in mind, and we're here a half hour away from kickoff, and these coaches still haven't signed a sign of relief yet until that whistle's blowing, they get that kickoff, and you never know. This could be their last game. They never know. Every game they have to go out and play it as if their last game.
That's exactly right. So when we've got Adams and Washington in the shadow of Jefferson, we're not throwing away our shot. We've got a lot to talk about on the Jordan Automotive Keys to Win, and that's next on the 46th Game of the Week.
This is the WHME TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week. Brought to you by Intera Credit Union, Bills Heating, Jordan Automotive Group, TCU, Aegis Dental Group, Crown Trophy, Imagineering Finishing Technologies, and the IHSAA.
This edition of the TV 46 High School Game of the Week is being brought to you in part by the Jordan Automotive Group. Simple, easy, stress-free. Welcome back to School Field, TCU School Field in South Bend. Constructed in 1926, the seating deck put in 1947. And that artificial turf laid just a couple of years ago. Beautiful night here in the Bend. It's time now to give you our Jordan Automotive Keys to Win, brought to you by the Jordan Auto Group, and we'll start with the Adams Eagles. Sidney Jeffries is their most versatile weapon on the field, 6'1", 190-pound senior, 1,100 total yards and 12 touchdowns last year, and he's also capable of pilfering passes in the secondary. He'll get some help this year from one of his basketball teammates, and that's Chuck Worsham, who's joined the football team. Worsham, the 5'11", 175-pound senior, expected to be a lightning-quick running back for the Eagles this year. Bob, the keys to win for Antoine Jones and company.
Well, especially early in the season, you have to play assignment football. You're not really sure about who's going to do what for Washington, so you got to know your keys. You have to tackle well, and you got to stay on your blocks. And Antoine Jones is in his 5th year now at Adams.
Meanwhile, for the Washington Panthers, they've got a lot of young players that are going to have to produce this year. And one of them is right there at quarterback. His name is Jeremy Johnson, 5'9", 155 pounds, and a sophomore. He started as a freshman safety against Tippecanoe Valley in the sectional last year, but he'll be the quarterback for Todd Stamich's team this season. And then you've got on defense Terrence Johnson, the big 6'3", 255-pound senior, is the top returning tackler, and he'll have to do the job against a big Adams offensive line.
Yeah, and so the keys to win, partner, for the Washington Panthers, they have to control that line of scrimmage. They've got to give their young quarterback some time back there. Possession is 9/10 of the law. You can't put the ball on the ground here. And they don't want to get beat deep. Adams has that deep weapon. And so Todd Stamich in his second season is coming off a 6-4 start.
This is the 76th meeting between Adams and Washington. Washington leads the all-time series 46-26-3. They first met in 1941. Last year, the Panthers got the better of Adams by a count of 26-13. Adams has won the toss and elected to receive. Washington will kick off from our left.
And our salute goes out to all the administrators, principals, athletic directors, coaches who have battled their way through this situation. Again, it's not over yet, but they're trying to have it be as normal as it can be for these athletes, and we're thrilled to be here as well for the TV 46 high school football game of the week. Our kickoff sponsor tonight is Dieter's Dream Foundation, and Gary Dieter's Dream Foundation is our sponsor, and here to call tonight's play-by-play. Are you ready, partner? It's been a little bit of a long rest. Here's Chuck Freeby.
Hard to believe that we have finally reached this point, but the Washington Panthers got to do a little equipment repair here on their freshman kicker, Marcos Morales. He's probably lucky to know how the helmet goes on. He's a member of the soccer team that they drafted over to kick for the Panthers, and one of his teammates will help him adjust that helmet.
St. Andrews Products brings you our uniform update. The Washington Panthers are the home team. They're in their green jerseys, green pants, and white helmets. The visitors are John Adams Eagles in their white jerseys, blue pants, and blue helmets. And the team looks great tonight, and St. Andrews Products can do the same for your team. Reach them at sales@standrewscorp.com.
Washington gets the whistle, and believe it or not, the 2020 high school football season is underway. Morales' spinning kick goes out of bounds, and that'll be a penalty on the Panthers. And the Eagles will begin with very good field position for their junior quarterback, Gavin Pulling, 5'10", 185-pound starter, who started the sectional game against Elkhart last season. In fact, let's look at the John Adams starting lineup, and you'll see not only is there Pulling, we told you about Jeffries, the top receiver, and Worsham. Jeremiah Love, a blocking back in the backfield. They can go deep with James Jordan. Big offensive line, two freshmen on the left side, Auden Jones, the coach's son, and Sean Brown, getting help from Nolan Rose on the right side, the big 305-pound senior tackle. As you take a look at Gavin Pulling, in that game against Central last year, he went 3 for 10 for 35 yards.
That's a pretty good size, for an inexperienced quarterback. He's a big physical presence out there.
And he'll have an empty backfield to start things off. But now Adams will adjust. And they'll put Worsham to his right. Jeffries in motion. And the snap goes by everybody. Worsham dives on it back at the 14-yard line. A big mistake. I don't know if Pulling thought there was a different play there, but he never made any effort to reach up and grab the snap.
Well, jitters on everybody's part. Certainly could have been the center. Could have been the positioning back there. We'll have to wait and see, but it is a big, big loss. They lose 24 yards on the exchange.
14. The original line of scrimmage was the
35.
Oh, yeah, 35. You're right. So all the way back to the 16. And Adams will try it again on 2nd and 29. This time Worsham takes it in a wildcat formation. He stiff arms a couple of tacklers, but here comes the pursuit by Washington, and they finally knock him out of bounds at the 16-yard line. A pickup of a mere no gain, actually, on the play. Well, they'll put it at the 17, a pickup of a yard. Let's look at the Washington defense for you now. We told you about Terrence Johnson, their top returning tackler. Tyrone Davis moves from the backfield up to defensive end. The linebacker positions, Reynolds and Hudson, very tough on the inside. And keep your eyes on young Tyler Davis back there at the corner, the 5'9" junior.
Well, you laid out the game plan. You weren't planning on your first possession being third down and, well, plus 24, but we'll see what happens.
The snap to Pulling. They give it on a counter play here to James Jordan, and Jordan jitterbugs his way. He's got the first down and more. Jordan across midfield to the 44 of Washington. What a pickup. James Jordan on a 39, well, they'll mark it at the 43. That's a 40-yard jaunt for a first down, sponsored by John Adams High School. Boy, did he get some big blocking from Nolan Rose, the pulling guard.
He sure did, and boy, he timed that. He didn't get overly aggressive. He waited till the blocking set up, and what a terrific start.
A conversion on a 3rd and 28 play keeps the drive alive for Adams and puts them in Panther territory.
Johnson, by the way, averaging 39 yards to carry.
Lots of movement around on that Adams line. Pulling has to make sure they're set. They are. And he gives a drop the football, and Pulling dives on it at the 45.
Man.
They were trying to go to Jordan on another reverse play that time, but the handoff was missed by Pulling, and he's actually coming out of the game right now.
Well, we talked about one of the keys tonight. You can't put the ball on the ground. And Adams has had two of those instances so far, and yet they're in Washington territory.
Damon Holloway is the new quarterback, but he lines up offset of the center. Holloway, a little single wing look that time, and he gets tripped up by Tyrone Davis at the line of scrimmage. We told you about Davis moving up from the secondary. He was a cornerback last year, had a huge attitude change, and Todd Stamage told me, Davis told Stamage he'll do anything for the team, and that includes playing defensive line.
Wow.
So 3rd and 12. We already saw Adams with one big 3rd down conversion on this drive. Can they make another?
Yeah, probably 4 down territory the way they are running right now.
The direct snap comes to Davion Patterson, and Patterson picks up about, maybe 4 on the play, gets up to the 41. It's going to be 4th and 8. And given the nature of the Adams punting game, it wouldn't be a surprise if Antoine Jones went for it here, but he just pulled out the young man that he lists as his punter, Holloway, so it looks like the Eagles will go for it.
Well, not bad field position, even if they don't get any yardage, but if they can get close.
You could also punt out of this formation. Let's see if they have Pulling try a little quick kick here. No, he's going to look to throw. Under duress, and down he goes. Terrence Johnson gets him back at the 43. The big senior defensive end who you'll meet at halftime, one of our TCU student athletes of the week, gets the sack, and Washington will take over on downs. Here's another look on the Aegis Dental replay.
Pretty good pursuit there by the Panthers. They had a pretty good eye on that target.
So the inability to hang on to the football costing Adams dearly on that drive. And now Washington will take over with excellent field position at the 44.
15:05 left to go here in the first quarter.
It's Jeremy Johnson at quarterback, the 5'9" sophomore. Marshawn Lottie and Devin DeVries are his running backs. It's Lottie, the former Adams Eagle, on the carry, and he tries to bully his way up the field and gets stopped at the 46-yard line. So Lottie, who last year played for Adams, now plays for Washington and picks up 2 as you meet the Washington offense. Told you about Lottie and DeVries in the backfield. You've got Malik Hobbs, and you've got also Elijah Reynolds at tight end. Look at that offensive line, and you're going to see some big bodies up there led by Isaac Torres, the 295-pound senior, the lone returning starter on offense.
Official's going to keep an eye on the players tonight, make sure that they need a break to get a drink of water. They'll take care and make sure they're safe.
2nd and 7. Johnson hesitated on the play, now trying to run away from trouble, and he's going to go down in the backfield because he just wasn't fast enough to get away from big Jeremiah Love. 6'2" sophomore ran him down in the backfield for a loss of 3. You get another look now at the Eagles defense. And the John Adams defense, big size up front, including Jones and Rauch in the middle. The linebacking core is very young, but Claude Neely, the senior, led the team in sacks last year. And then in the secondary, Damon Holloway gives them some experience. He was a cornerback last year. 3rd and 10 as you take a look at Antoine Jones over on the sideline. Jones, who has coached at both Adams and Washington in this rivalry. Hoping his defense can come up big here on 3rd and 10. Washington wants to air it out. Johnson lobs it up, and he's got his man, the big tight end. That's Elijah Reynolds all the way down inside to the 30-yard line. They'll mark it at the 29, so Reynolds, the big 6'4" senior, gives him a nice target here, and he ran a nice little out route that time.
He was open for a half hour, Chuck. I looked up, and he had gotten loose and then kept a good distance, and the ball got thrown up with plenty of time to run under it. Pretty good gain there for the Panthers.
First down sponsored by Derek Dieter for St. Joseph County Commissioner.
That's a big target out there, isn't it?
Reynolds, 6'4", 205. He's a member of the wrestling team. He won the 220-pound class at the Clay Super Duels last winter. Here's the handoff. Again, it's Marshawn Lottie bouncing to the outside. Lottie around the left side, had the legs taken out from under him by Sidney Jeffries at the 26-yard line.
Derek Dieter is a Republican running for St. Joseph County Commissioner in District 2. Derek has been serving the community since 1975 as a police officer, a South Bend City Council member, a coach, and a mentor. Derek believes strongly in family, law and order, and patriotism. Vote Derek Dieter on November 3rd. VoteDieter.com.
2nd and 7 at the Eagles 26. So Sidney Jeffries, two-way player here for Adams, and he showed why on that terrific tackle. Of course, he had a great basketball season for the Eagles last year, too. I asked Antoine Jones, where's he getting more looks? He said, definitely football. 2nd and 7, flags thrown and whistles blown, and we're going to get a chance to meet our officiating crew for tonight's game. Mike Monahan, the veteran white hat official, says illegal procedure. He's joined by the former pride of Cross Creek, Bill Kumanetz, the Metcalfs, and John T. Walszewski.
That's right. Little mistake there. You're going to have some of those early in the season. Folks, the first male recipient of the Jeff Hall Award will be announced in just a couple of minutes, but a wonderful honor that's coming the way of a couple of athletes every year at Adams High School. So we'll share that with you in just a couple of minutes.
Washington puts a man in motion. That's Tyrone Davis to the top of your screen. Johnson looks like he might be changing the play here. Pretty gutty move for a sophomore in his first start. 2nd and 12. And it looks like it took him too long, and the delay of game is called against Washington. That'll cost the Panthers 5 yards.
Pretty good setup there with 2nd down and 7, but now
2nd and 17.
Well, we've seen some big gains on that yardage situation tonight already, and both teams showing off a little bit of their big play capabilities.
Jeremy Johnson, no stranger to this offense. He actually was the quarterback for Todd Stamage when Stamage was coaching here at Jefferson Intermediate. And so he's quite familiar with what Stamage wants him to do, but Stamage senses a little confusion with the offense, and a timeout will be taken. 5:38 to go, first quarter. Still scoreless at TCU School Field in this city rivalry between Adams and Washington. This TV 46 Game of the Week is being brought to you in part by Intera Credit Union, offering high-efficiency technology banking. Join in at InteraCU.com.
Well, again, we wanted to pass along the news about the top athletes here at Adams High School, and they're being honored with the Jeff Hall Award. Jeff did so many things for so many people here, and John Adams would like to recognize Anna Fuller as the first female recipient of the Jeff Hall Award and scholarship. Jeff was a longtime coach and staff member at Adams, and he epitomized what it meant to be an Adams Eagle. Anna was a 4-year member of the girls basketball team and a member of the National Honor Society, an outstanding first baseman as well, and she is a certificate student at Adams and now attends Spring Arbor University.
On 2nd and 17, they give the ball to Tyrone Davis. And Davis, one of the backup running backs, takes it up to the 30-yard line. That'll give a 3rd and 11 after a pickup of 6. Each team on their first possession. Adams took it into Washington territory, but the drive stalled out at the Panther 44. And now the Panthers hoping to do something here with their first possession of the contest.
Didn't get all of it back, but got a nice gain, makes it workable.
They'll give it to, no, Johnson kept it on the fake, gets around the outside, and we've got a flag coming in behind the play. It looks like it'll probably be a hold. It was thrown by the referee, Mike Monahan. And indeed, that's exactly what it is.
And the play took place, the hold took place at about the 26-yard line, so not going to be good news for the Panthers.
Now the question is, does Antoine Jones want to take the result of the play, set up a 4th and 5, or will he take the holding penalty? It looks like he'll take the hold. Here's another look from the Aegis Dental Group. And let's see if you can pick up the hold. It's going to be, well, it looked like 89. The tight end, Elijah Reynolds, just tackled his man to the ground. That's seems to be illegal in this sport.
Yep, and Adams was trying to cut back across the field to catch up with the ball carrier and ran into a little bit of a hole there. So, tell you what, Washington's going to have to gain about 150 yards to go 100 tonight.
Noel Townsend, the center, leads this team out from the huddle. Todd Stamage trying to direct traffic from the sidelines. Johnson on play action, wants to throw, puts it out there, and it's intercepted by Sidney Jeffries. And you better look out, because this kid can fly. Jeffries has a convoy down the far sideline. Flags come in. This will be called back, but it's still an interception and a turnover.
Wow. Boy, he electrified the folks who are here, I think on both sides, watching him take off. He made a great pick back there at about the goal line and really elevated, kept his feet under him, and took off. Man.
Take another look from Aegis Dental Group. Ball was underthrown, and Jeffries read it perfectly, cutting right in front of Tyler Davis. And then look at him say, okay, guys, line it up. Here I come. Carried the ball like a loaf of bread for the supermarket, but that was okay. Now the flags come in, and they're offsetting penalties. So I believe it'll go from the spot of the infractions.
And it was after the possession change.
Right.
So it'll stay with Adams. Folks, TCU understands the importance of growing your future, whether you're growing your family, your square footage, or your business. TCU is here for you with financial solutions that will help you succeed. Visit tcunet.com to start growing your future today. Federally insured by the NCUA, we are an equal housing opportunity lender.
So Adams is going to take over at the 30-yard line, and because it's an 85-degree night, we're going to see the officials give the teams a chance to catch their breath a little bit here, get a water break, and that gives us a chance to thank our sponsors.
And we want to do that with the folks from Imagineering Finishing Technologies. For over 60 years, industry has relied on the great team at Imagineering Finishing Technologies. IFT is the industry knowledge source for metal finishing solutions. The medical, automotive, and defense and aerospace challenges have built their reputation and legacy. Reach them at IFTworldwide.com. At IFT, we'll work till you're finished correctly.
Before the game, we had a chance to hear from Adams head coach Antoine Jones. And hopefully we'll be able to hear from him later in the broadcast. Meanwhile, Bo Hunt, you're down on the sidelines with Bill's Heating Sideline Report. And obviously the officials giving the teams a break. I did notice it seems a lot hotter down there on the turf tonight.
Yeah, it did earlier, but actually the wind picked up a little bit since we did our pregame, so it's actually cooled down a little bit. Sun's starting to set a little bit as well. But, you know, from both teams, I think the biggest thing is first game, they haven't had a lot of practices that they normally do, so they're not quite conditioned yet for this heat, guys.
Well, and those first game jitters are really showing too. James Jordan spinning through people. Jordan still on his feet, and he stumbles forward, but another flag comes out. I have the feeling we'll see a few of those tonight.
No question, partner.
Which is also indicative of what you typically see in a first game. It's a holding call against Adams. Now, it was thrown down at the 37-yard line, so it's only going to wind up being a loss of 3 on the play, and they'll repeat the down.
St. Andrews Products, at St. Andrews Products, your expectations become our standards. We have the finest promotional products, advertising specialties, business gifts, and apparel. Our team handles all the embroidery and screen printing in-house to guarantee the quality and timely turnaround that you need to meet your production. At St. Andrews Products, our answer is always yes. Now, what's the question?
By the way, Marion and Mishawaka tied at 7 in the first quarter over at Steele Stadium. 1st and 13 in a 0-0 game. The snap to Holloway, and he gets chased down from behind by a hotly pursuing Washington defense led by Tyrone Davis. Davis stops him for a loss of 1, Bob.
Yeah, trying to get some leverage on the outside, and it looks good early, but the pursuit in that secondary from Adams doing a great job, not only coming over, but coming up.
DeMond Holloway showed what he could do as a rusher in the sectional against Elkhart Central when he ran for 56 yards against the Blue Blazers, who are no more. They'll have their first game next week if everything goes well against Mishawaka. 2nd and 13. The spin and the handoff, and Jordan hauled down from behind this time by Braden Hudson, the 5'11 junior. Boy, Hudson, just an all-around athlete. This is a kid that's not afraid to try anything. During his tenure at Washington, remember, he's only a junior. He's been on the swim team, the football team, the wrestling team, and the golf team.
I love that.
That's a pretty unique combo.
You bet it is. Both teams using a lot of players early on. And again, sometimes, nobody's won the position, but they're competing for it. So you're giving both guys a look here.
3rd and 11 from the 29. They've been direct snapping a lot to Worsham tonight, but here it's pulling, trying to pull around the right side, and he gets submarined and tackled back at the 29-yard line. I think it might have been Reynolds that came in and made the tackle again right there. So 4th down and what would appear to be a punting situation here for the Adams Eagles. This has always been kind of a bugaboo for Antoine Jones teams, but DeMond Holloway will do the kicking. He stands between his 20 and the end zone. Washington will put Tyler Davis back deep. He stands in his own territory. Low snap, but Holloway boots it out of there, and they're just going to let it hit. It takes an Eagles roll, and that winds up being a pretty nice punt all the way down to the 40-yard line. So a 30-yard punt, no return, and as I said earlier, we had a chance to hear from Antoine Jones before the game.
Yeah, definitely. You know, obviously you got that inter-city rivalry going on, and they got us last year, so hopefully we come out tonight and take care of business.
That is the goal for the Eagles, who are trying to snap a 12-game losing streak as they come into this game. They lost their last 2 games of the 2018 season, and then every game in 2019, despite having a Division I quarterback and Ira Armstead, who went to Virginia, and the Division I receiver in Miguel Zinowitz, who went to Western Michigan. But to be fair, Zinowitz got hurt early in the season, as did about half the team last year.
It was really tough over at practice a couple times last year, and just watching Antoine try to piece together the offense.
Devin DeVries takes the handoff, and he's stopped right at the line of scrimmage and was lucky to get back there as the Adams defense, led by James Jordan that time, makes the stop. And that's probably where Adams has made the most progress when you talk to people around here in the offseason, Bob. Their defense last year gave up 40 points a game. This year they've looked very good in both the scrimmage and here tonight.
They have, and again, the size, you leave a kid at the end of last year, and he's 5'11", maybe 160, and all of a sudden he comes back and he's 6'1", about 185. That really helps, and that's just a part of growing up at this age.
Malik Hobbs wide to the top of the screen on 2nd and 10. Todd Stamage throws it out there. Tyler Davis takes it up to the 48-yard line. What's fascinating about that toss by Jeremy Johnson, he did that left-handed. He's a right-handed kid.
He's amphibious. That's what I heard.
Thank you, Jerry Faust.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Boy, what a nice job.
So Johnson showing his ambidextry here. Now watch him. Right-handed, slid it over to the left hand, and then Tyler Davis was able to make the catch. That's, the Dieter Dream Foundation, one of our sponsors, and that was very Patrick Mahomes-ish that time.
It was. And Gary Dieter on the other end.
3rd and 2. Now Washington can run the ball and get the first down, sponsored by Derek Dieter for South Bend County Commissioner. And it's Marshawn Lottie on the carry up to the 43 as he takes it forward, and the first quarter comes to an end. The first quarter dominated by the defenses. In fact, the defense had the only highlight with Sidney Jeffries squelching a Washington scoring threat. Both teams have what the little boy shot at. Nothing at TCU School Field. This edition of the 46th Game of the Week brought to you by Bill's Heating for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Bo Hunt may need all 3 of those down on the sideline tonight. Probably not the heating, but the cooling, definitely. We go down to him for a Bill's Heating sideline report. Your thoughts on the first quarter, Bo?
Well, I think it's as we expected. The offenses on both sides kind of struggled a little bit with the limited time that they had to prepare for these games and stuff like that for this season. You can be understandable that that's what's going to happen. Just a little bit of mistakes, just trying to get in the flow. Washington seemed to get a little bit now in the flow a little bit. Adams, their second series, a little bit better. But I think that's going to be the biggest thing as the game goes on. Which offense really gets into the flow and starts sustaining the drives?
All right, thank you very much. Bo's sideline report brought to us by Bill's Heating. Both teams had moments where they moved the ball in the first quarter, Bob, but they just lack consistency.
Well, and you put the ball on the ground, that stops things. Penalties stop things. But, again, we're all even as we go to the second quarter. Here's Chuck Freeby.
1st and 10, and a handoff for no gain that time. As Adams trying to carry it up the middle with Anthony Figueroa, his first carry of the season, but that wound up being maybe even a loss of 1 on the play.
You know, Chuck, we had a chance to watch some of the teams practice and scrimmage. St. Joe, LaVille had a chance to watch Bremen against Prairie Heights. And it seemed to me at that point for the teams that we were watching that the offense was a little bit ahead of the defense. But again, you're in those first couple of weeks of practice, you're trying to find out who you can put in there and who you can trust.
And I think in the case of all 3 of the teams you mentioned, St. Joe, LaVille, Bremen, they all have quarterbacks coming back, veteran quarterbacks. Neither one of these teams has that, and I think at times it shows tonight as Washington will take another time out here with 11:10 left in the second quarter, and that gives us a chance to hear from the boss of the Washington Panthers. Todd Stamich had a 6-4 season in his opening year with Washington, and as he came into the opener tonight, I asked him about his team handling this strange atmosphere around the season, but having the advantage of playing a city rival.
I mean, you said it all. Like, nothing gets our guys' juices flowing like a game of South Bend against South Bend. You know, whether it's Adams, Clay, or Riley, you know, it always gets kids excited. They know these guys. Some of them went to middle school together. You know, some of them live right down the street now with open enrollment. So you don't, to be honest with you, you don't really have to get your kids excited for this week. You know what I mean? You don't have to get them pumped up. It's already a natural rivalry. It's going to be weird having fewer fans in the stands, but I think these kids, you know, a month ago would have been upset at the number of fans here, and now they're just ecstatic that we have fans in the stands. You know what I mean? That we're allowed to have them out here. So they're really excited, and they're looking forward to see what's going to happen tonight.
And I think fans are really ecstatic to be in the stands, to have a chance to go to a high school football game. Clearly, more would like to be here, but for those that can't be here, we're happy we can stream the game on Facebook and YouTube tonight so that you can see it. Various places are going to have various amounts of fans. Nobody's going to have a full house, but, man, everybody's just so excited to have high school football back.
You know, we want to salute the fans who are here tonight because they are spaced very nicely on both sides.
2nd and 10, handoff up the middle, and a pickup of about 3 on the play. Before that, Adams' defense was able to close in on Figueroa. And again, James Jordan, we've called his name a lot tonight, the drop linebacker, 6-foot junior, having a heck of a game so far.
Sure is. They're filling nicely in those gaps. And again, that's that assignment football we talk about, because in drills, you know, you've had a scouting report, you got an idea of what they want to do, but you're teaching that really position football. You have to take care of your responsibilities.
So 3rd and 7, young Jeremy Johnson at quarterback. He's going to fake the handoff to Figueroa, keep it himself going around the outside, and another flag comes in. This one from the side judge, and we'll see what this is all about.
Never seen an official who had to get a new flag after one game, but a lot of laundry being tossed down there. Gives us a chance to tell you about the folks at Bethel University. Bethel University wants you to know that they strive for more than victory in their chosen sports. Bethel is committed to returning a wonderful, flourishing relationship with God, developing servant leaders, and achieving academic excellence. Discover the opportunities for student athletes at betheluniversity.edu. Great to have Bethel on with us again this year.
So a holding call against Washington moves it back to 3rd and 16 from the 49-yard line. Obviously, what you would consider a passing situation here. Young Johnson has thrown one interception. He's under fire, but he gets it out there to his receiver. Knocked out of bounds is Tyrone Davis. And Davis with the grab up around they're going to mark him out of bounds at the 41-yard line. That's going to set up a 4th and long. You get another look here from Aegis Dental Group. Good poise under pressure that time by Jeremy Johnson. And Jeremiah Love was the one who shoved him out of bounds.
35 yards in penalties so far in the first half for Washington, but another makeable situation here. We get down around that 6-minute mark of the first half.
Todd Stamich looks like he's going to show confidence in his defense here, but Washington taking a lot of time in that huddle. Play clock already down to 10. Stamich has already used 2 timeouts. Play clock at 3 as Johnson takes the snap, fires out in the flat. He's got Tyler Davis, and Sidney Jeffries greets him rudely.
Whew. How you doing?
So Jeffries with the big stop on Davis at the 37, and Adams will take over on downs. Watch this one again. Jeffries is solidly built at 6'1", 190, and he laid the lumber to Tyler Davis that time.
My goodness. Davis at 5'9", 160 didn't have much to go up against the veteran defensive back, but he was just getting ready to turn up field. Looked like he thought he might have a little yardage to gain there.
He wanted to jitterbug, and that wasn't the dance that Mr. Jeffries had in mind.
Yeah, it wasn't the song they were playing that time.
1st and 10 from the 37 for the Eagles. The snap comes directly to Chuck Worsham, and Worsham found a big hole up the middle, and he's got a 1st down. And that's sponsored by John Adams High School as he takes it right to the midfield stripe. So Chuck Worsham showing some of the speed that Antoine Jones was telling me about the other day, taking this one right up the middle off of a Wildcat, and he got some great blocking from his offensive line.
Had a turnover a minute ago. I mentioned that the first half was on about 4 minutes. Actually, it was 9 minutes.
Again, Adams doing this wholesale shuffling along the line to try to create confusion. It's pulling the quarterback off the left side. He's still on his feet, runs over a tackler and gets to the 41, a pickup of 9 for the Eagles signal caller.
Boy, sure makes it an easy call on 2nd down, doesn't it?
It'll be a 2nd and 1. Pulling, and look at the bodies in front of him. The freshman, Auden Jones, 6'3", 295 pounds. Boy, the folks at Adams are just delighted with what they've got on the left side of their line for the next 4 years. They start 2 freshmen, Auden Jones and Sean Brown, and both of them are pretty good physical specimens.
They certainly are. Adams with a little momentum going here.
Now a little bit of an offset formation here for Adams. Everything looking like they're going to the left, and indeed they do. Pulling got away from Terrence Johnson. He's got a lot of open field. Gavin Pulling inside the 20, gets knocked out of bounds at about the 14. 27 yards and a 1st down, sponsored by John Adams High School. And the Eagle quarterback seems to have settled down a little bit in his first start of 2020.
Well, he had a 2nd down and 1, so looked like maybe Washington was thinking they might just run it up the middle, but boy, he got to the leverage on the outside. They had to run him down again.
Devin DeVries made the touchdown saving tackle for the Washington Panthers. 1st and 10 from the 14, deepest penetration for either team tonight. It's Worsham in the Wildcat. Right side, big hole. Chuck Worsham to the end zone. Touchdown. John Adams is on the board thanks to a Chuck Worsham touchdown. And it's 6-0 Eagles pending the extra point attempt. And again, the blocking up front. Nolan Rose just plowing people out of the way.
Rose is a big one, isn't he? I know we talked about him during the week.
Cohen is on to try the extra point. Actually, that's not Cohen. That is another player for Adams. Not necessarily on our roster, but the extra point is up and good. And with 8:13 to go in the first half, the Eagles strike first in this city rivalry. Chuck Worsham from 14 yards out makes it 7-0 Adams. This edition of the TV46 High School Football Game of the Week is being brought to you in part by Aegis Dental Group, trusted dentistry.
Well, momentum wearing a white jersey right now. Washington in their green uniforms, green pants, white helmets. Going to try to come back. They have plenty of time here in the first half.
So the kickoff goes deep and is taken back at the 5-yard line by Washington. And Tyrone Davis right up the middle of the field takes it all the way to the 34. So once again, good field position for the Panthers, but now they have to find a way to do something with it.
Thought maybe Davis's biggest problem on that kick return was catching it looking into the sun. So it's a tough sun field, especially this time of night here at School Field. Service building on the west end of the field will take away some of the sun here in a couple of minutes. Shadows out to the 30.
So they will spot it at the 34, and that's where the Panthers take over, trailing for the first time tonight with 8:06 to go first half.
There's some exciting players on this field tonight. Jeffries, Davis, man, we've had some highlights. We'll have those for you at halftime, along with our student athletes, brought to you by TCU.
Jeremy Johnson under center. He got rid of it just in time to Marshawn Lottie, and Lottie pulls his way upfield all the way to the 43-yard line, pickup of 9 on the play. We mentioned earlier that Lottie is a young man that was a transfer from Adams. You got to think this game means a lot to him tonight.
Probably only thought about it every day during the summer. Folks, Gary Dieter is a 2012 Washington High School graduate, a 4A Player of the Year, Alabama standout who played in the national championship game in 2016, and now is a Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's proud to support the Panthers in tonight's game, and he's willing to come in on third down if you need him.
2nd and 1 here. And a timeout called by Adams. They've got a problem with their coverage right now, so Antoine Jones wants to talk about it with his team with 7:20 to go first half.
I want to remind you that the folks at Bethel are proud to support high school football. The Field Scholars Program at Bethel University gives students the chance to earn a bachelor's degree with little or no debt. The program relies on the partnership developed with local employers, giving students hands-on experience while gaining valuable employees. Learn more about becoming part of the Field School program at Bethel University. Reach them at betheluniversity.edu.
Well, as you look into that Adams huddle with Antoine Jones over on the other side, they might need those name tags that start out, "Hello, my name is," because Washington, with only 2 starters returning from last year's squad, that was such a senior-dominated team that we saw in the sectional last year against Tippecanoe Valley. And so a lot of people are trying to step up this year for this Washington team. And Todd told me that while he is low on experience, he's really pleased with the leadership that his seniors have shown so far. And he's hoping that that can carry the tide as they go forward in the season. The more experience they gain with games, he thinks they'll be a much better team at the end of the year than they are right now.
Yeah, he thought giving some of his seniors a 5th year would be a good idea, but they don't do that. IHSA rules, so young guys are out there getting their stripes tonight.
2nd and 1, Tyrone Davis in motion. It's Tyler Davis at the bottom of your screen. Johnson looking for Tyler Davis, and he makes the snare at the 45 and takes it up to the 36-yard line. Well-designed play that time by the Panthers, and they've got a first down sponsored by Derek Dieter for St. Joseph County Commissioner.
Well, they're running their routes correctly, and the ball's in good timing, getting in their hands with time to turn around and look, and pretty nice gain right there.
3-step drop. They didn't ask the sophomore to make any kind of read that time. They just said wing it out there, and that's exactly what he did. And he wound up picking up about 21 yards on the play. So 1st and 10 from the 36. Johnson with Lottie behind him. It's Lottie off the right side. And Marshawn Lottie up to the 30-yard line, a pickup of 6.
Well, he's a load, isn't he?
Runs hard, 5'11", 178 pounds, only a junior. So one thing that Todd Stamich is excited about is that he'll have a couple of years to work with him and develop him as well.
About 5 yards on that first down carry.
Meanwhile, Javante Wallace checks into the game with the play now for Washington. Panthers went 6-4 in Stamich's first season last year, and you talk to anybody around the Washington program, and they talked about what a positive attitude that he brings and an attitude of accountability that has quickly seeped into his team.
Yeah, no complaints from Todd. He loves being at Washington.
Johnson bounces off of one tackler, but he couldn't get around everybody. He was lucky to get that ball up back to the 30-yard line, pick up a maybe 1 on the play, as he was hit almost immediately as that play got underway. Brandon Taylor, the big defensive end, was the one to make first contact.
Folks, dive right into Bontrager Pool's newest location at 1718 South Michigan Street in South Bend, where you can get everything you need for your backyard oasis. BioGuard chemicals, hot tubs, grills, and more. We are Michiana's premier pool and hot tub experts. Bontrager Pools. Dive right in. Bontrager Pools has been serving the Michiana area for over 3 decades with 2 locations in Elkhart and South Bend.
3rd down, Johnson fires, and it's almost intercepted. A diving attempt there made to pick it off by Claude Neely, the linebacker, and he breaks up the pass and sets up 4th down. Neely last year led this team in sacks, but tonight so far, Antoine Jones has used him more in coverage than he has in blitzing situations. We'll see if that changes as the game goes on.
It's just the second incomplete pass for Washington. The first one was intercepted by Adams.
4th and 5 with 5:02 to go here in the first half. Adams on top, 7-0. Johnson hands it off. They'll go to Devin DeVries, and DeVries, can he make the first down? It's awfully close. Looks like he made it on second effort. What a job by Devin DeVries, a sophomore who plays on the basketball team, and he found a way to pick up a first down there for a pickup of 6.
Boy, powerful run. Needed all 6 of them, too.
Another look from Aegis Dentistry. Tyrone Davis did a nice job in blocking, but it was that spin move that DeVries made at the end of the run that got him the first down.
Well, back and forth we go, and again, the elimination of some balls on the ground and penalties. Both teams starting to look a little bit better on offense.
Second quarter much sharper than the first, that's for sure. Johnson hands it off. Marshawn Lottie trying to push his blocker ahead, but there were too many white jerseys there. Coming over to make the stop, Cody Barnes, a senior member of the Eagles baseball team.
Folks, Derek Dieter is a Republican running for St. Joseph County Commissioner in District 2. Derek's been serving the community since 1975 and now wants to continue as your county commissioner. It does not matter what party you're affiliated with. You can vote your party and still vote for Derek Dieter on November 3rd. This message brought to you by VoteDieter.com.
By the way, Derek Dieter for St. Joseph's County Commissioner, our second quarter sponsor tonight. Under the 4-minute mark here in the first half. 2nd and 10. Johnson on play action. Looking to run around. He's in trouble, and down he goes. He got tripped up by Cody Barnes again. Loss of 3 on the play.
think he made a good decision there, Chuck. It looked like he was going to try to belly back even further. I don't think it would have helped him, so he turned it up where he could and minimized the loss.
Aegis Dental Group with the replay sponsorship here. And Barnes with a nice dive at the ankles that time to trip up the elusive Washington quarterback.
Loss of about 4 yards on the play.
So 3rd and 13. This does not necessarily play into the strength of Washington, although they've already shown better passing this year than they had last year. And Johnson, 3-step drop going up top. Chuck Worsham had his receiver covered, and it's incomplete.
Like some incidental contact over there, and the receiver went down and no flag, so.
I think Tyler Davis has been watching some Bundesliga play.
Hey, yeah.
He took a little theatrical drop there, hoping to get the pass interference.
4 out of 7 now in the first half for Washington.
So 4th and 13. Too close to punt it, too far away for a field goal. So it's gambling time here for Todd Stamich. Johnson brings him up to the line of scrimmage. Runs around, fires, and there was nobody out there. It's incomplete. Cody Barnes forced him to get rid of it in a hurry, and Adams' defense is held once again and forced another change of downs.
Pretty good pursuit again. The angles that Adams is showing is really having an effect on what they're trying to do here. So we'll see. Folks, we want to tell you about the Dieter Dream Foundation, proud sponsor in tonight's game. Founded by Gary Dieter and his wife Meg, their passion is positively impacting the lives of disadvantaged youth and neglected animals. The Dieter Dream Foundation wishes the Panthers the best of luck in tonight's game.
So 1st and 10. For the Adams Eagles. And it's going to be a snap to DeMond Holloway. He wants to go deep here. Holloway looking for Sidney Jeffries, who had it in his hands but couldn't come down with it.
Well, Sidney did a great job, didn't he? I mean, he was double covered and still found a way to work his way to the ball, just couldn't hang on.
Lost his cleat as he jumped up. That might have distracted him too. You get another look here from Aegis Dentistry. Jeffries comes down and he dragged his foot right out of his shoe.
Well, you knew Jeffries was going to be part of whatever they're going to try to do here at the end of the first half. He's a big playmaker and a leader on that team. They really look up to him.
So Antoine Jones has both quarterbacks on the field. He used to do this at Washington.
Yes, he did.
Here's Gavin Pulling taking the snap, and Pulling showing some good speed. He's got the first down, sponsored by John Adams High School. It's up to the 44-yard line. Make it the 45. And you'll get another look here from Aegis Dentistry. Again, big blocking there at the point of attack.
61 yards in the first half for Pulling.
After a very shaky start on that first possession where he put the ball on the ground twice. Holloway and Pulling talking about who's going to get the snap here. It's Pulling with Holloway blocking. Pulling cut it back the other way, and look at him go. Pulling out of bounds at the Washington 34-yard line. That's a pickup of 22 for the quarterback. He might have a 100-yard rushing night in the first half.
Tell you what, that double set with the running backs is causing some issues in that secondary. Pulling showing some real good quickness there. Gain of 22.
So 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. And here's Chuck Worsham right up the middle. Chuck Worsham basically tackled by his own man at the 21-yard line to pick up a 13 on the play.
Another big, strong back. And they're running behind that big offensive line, Chuck. They've got some big fellows up there, and it looks like we don't have a balance chart, but I'm telling you, they're running the ball wide as many times they're running up the middle and just trying to keep Washington honest, and they're having success.
Worsham that time ran into Sidney Jeffries, his basketball teammate, and again, Jeffries, that big, strong body, Worsham ran into him, and down he went.
3 straight plays where the Adams Eagles have made a first down as they're moving the ball really well.
And they still have some timeouts left here. Play clock down to 7. Long count, DeMond Holloway. Holloway up the middle. Holloway works his way inside the 10 to the 9, and another first down sponsored by John Adams High School. And we've got a Washington Panther down on the field. It looks like Camonte Hinton is the injured Panther, and the trainers will attend to him as we look at the Aegis Dentistry replay.
Holloway picked up a nice 12-yard gain there.
Boy, the poor umpire, he stands in a very dangerous position anyway, and he was lucky that he didn't get hit there. As they attend to the injured Hinton, we'll take a break. 1:09 to go first half. Adams trying to build on a 7-0 lead at TCU School Field.
Folks, the first male recipient of the Jeff Hull Award and Scholarship is Jekar Watkins. This award goes to a student who best reflects the character and hard work ethic of longtime Adams staff member Jeff Hull. Jekar was a 4-year varsity baseball player at Adams, a member of the National Honor Society, an outstanding IB certificate student, and now plays baseball at Saginaw Valley University. And we hope they get to play up there, but congratulations to Jekar Watkins.
So first and goal from the 9-yard line for Adams. Already leading 7-0. They've been working with Gavin Pulling and Chuck Worsham in the backfield, and the snap comes to Pulling. Pulling gets out of the hold of Terrence Johnson and up the field and into the end zone for an Eagles touchdown. Gavin Pulling with the first rushing touchdown of his career, and the Eagles expand the lead to 13-0.
92 first half yards for Pulling, and he's gotten some help also from his counterparts in that backfield, Holloway. But Chuck, Washington will get the ball to start the second half, but down 2 scores. They're going to have to really tighten it up on offense.
James Jordan almost carried his quarterback into the end zone. This is Cohen doing the kicking. The snap a little high. Cohen's kick a little low, but it goes over the crossbar and is good, and it's 14-0 Adams here at halftime. Well, not quite halftime. 58.8 seconds left before the intermission. And we'll keep it right here. Well, we are hopeful to get in a full schedule this year, as are all the teams. And so next week, our plan is to go on over to Atulski Field, where a couple of 3A powers go head-to-head. This was not a game on the original schedule, nor was it a game on our original schedule, but circumstances put it on our schedule now, and it's Knox with Russ Radke as the head coach, taking on Michael Davidson's Marion Knights. Boy, what a challenge for the Knights. Not only are they moving on to the NIC North, where they play the big boys like Elkhart and Penn, they open their season with Mishawaka and then with Knox.
And the Knox Redskins will be ready to go. Russ Radke has had so much success. He did a great job at New Prairie, and I know they're excited. And Russ is excited about being there. That's closer to kind of his home roots.
So we'll see that one live on YouTube, Facebook, and hopefully the Champions Network. Next Friday night, that's a 7:30 kickoff. And then on TV 46 in the customary Friday night 11 and Saturday morning at 9 spot. Kickoff sponsored by the Dieter Dream Foundation. Cohen does the honors here for the Eagles.
They had a nice return last time. Let's see if they can get another one.
This kick goes spinning over towards the sidelines and is fielded by Tyrone Davis. Davis cuts it up the field. He's at the 26, now cuts back and drags the tackler forward to about the 31 or 32-yard line before Sidney Jeffries hauls him down.
That's about 65 yards in returns for Davis so far in this ball game, and it's one of those numbers you don't see a lot, but watch it again when he gets some momentum and he cuts back, then he cuts up. I love this when he gets north and south. A lot of times guys will just take it to the sideline, and when they run out of territory, but Davis knows how to he knows which way is west. This field lines up east to west. Not many of them do, but we mentioned that the shadow is out to the 30-yard line. Now it's down to about the 45 of the Adams side of the field.
The other one that I can think of two other ones in our area that go east-west. Anders Field in Napanee.
Yes.
And Don Bungie Field at Bremen.
And both of them have concerns about sun until a certain time.
Yep. So 1st and 10 from the 32. Let's see how Todd Stamage plays it. He's going to keep it on the ground here with Marshawn Lottie, who picks up about 5 on the play. And I think Washington's going to be happy to just run out the clock here on the first half. Some other scores from around the area. Clay leading Osceola Grace 7-0 over at Clay Field. Wawasee with a 21-0 lead on Lakeland. And at Steele Stadium, Marion and Mishawaka are tied at 14 just before the half. Also at Jackson Field, Michigan City leading Riley by a count of 7-0.
Happy for those who are playing. Totally understand those who aren't. And we're just hoping that everybody continues to do all they can to work through this pandemic.
Washington does not have to snap the ball here if they don't want to. But they did. And they hand it to Marshawn Lottie, and he picks up about 4. And that's the way the first half will end here at TCU School Field on the east side of South Bend. The second quarter featuring a couple of touchdowns for the Adams Eagles. Chuck Worsham took it in from 14 yards out, and then Gavin pulling from 9. 14-0. Don't go anywhere. Our halftime festivities come your way next on the 46 Game of the Week.
And welcome back to School Field, everybody. Our first high school broadcast of the season has given us a couple of fine representatives of their respective schools. Our Student Athletes of the Week brought to you by TCU. TCU reminds you to go online at tcunet.com and find out how you can become a member today. Well, with us from John Adams High School is Jacob Menninger. And Jacob, first of all, congratulations on the success you're having in the classroom and also really being a vital part of this Adams football team.
Thank you, sir.
Talk about what it takes to get that done. You got to be a dedicated athlete.
Late nights, really. You just got to learn to deal with the amount of sleep that you get, and you got to make the battle between school and football. Make sure that you get both done, because you can't get one done without the other.
And you're also involved in a lot of church activities. I know the food drive is one of your focuses, and just finding a way to help other people. That's great.
Yes, sir.
Talk about what your plans are for the future. I know a lot of times we talk to guys that are going to go down to college, and you've got a career path that sounds pretty exciting for you.
I plan on joining the union just because it's what I found I was good at while I was doing all my education. So.
And that could be an electrician or a carpenter, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, way to keep the, we're going to need a nail to, no, you don't need a nail to hold that up. Hey, congratulations on all you're doing, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All right, Jacob Menninger from John Adams High School, our student athlete for the Adams Eagles. And now joining us from Washington High School is Terrence Johnson. And Terrence has done a great job as well. And Terrence, certainly congratulations to you on all your success.
Appreciate it.
All righty. Talk about what it's like to be part of this team. You guys had some success last year, and I know in the weight room and summer workouts, you guys have a pretty high plane that you're striving to achieve.
Yes, sir. We work every day. Just hard work, 24/7.
You're doing a good job in the classroom as well, and you are looking at maybe a chance to play some college football.
Yes, sir. Really just striving to see this year, to see a better college. I got offers now, but looking for better ones.
Well, everybody has a great game on TV. 46 gets better offers. That's what I heard. But talk about what you're involved with at Washington in addition to your schoolwork.
You said what, sir?
You involved in the National Honor Society. You're doing a lot of great things at Washington. What are you involved with there?
I appreciate it. I'm on the wrestling program, obviously football, and just schoolwork, really.
Well, that's plenty. That's a good load. Congratulations on your success. Wish you all the best.
Appreciate it.
All righty. Jeremiah Johnson from South Bend, Washington High School. Our Student Athlete of the Week brought to you by TCU. They remind you to go online at tcunet.com and find out how you can become a member today. We're back with some halftime stats and highlights in just a moment. You're watching the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week.
This edition of the TV 46 High School Game of the Week is being brought to you in part by the Indiana High School Athletic Association, partnering with TV 46 for 30 years. Chuck Freeby, Bob Nagel, Bo Hunt back with you from TCU School Field on the east side of South Bend, where the team from the east side has the lead in this one. Adams on top of Washington by a count of 14-0 here at the intermission. And let's take a look to show you how it got to be this way after a scoreless first quarter. Gavin Pulling, who had some problems on the first drive of the game, didn't have many more. He got elusive here in the second quarter, took this ball down to the 14-yard line. Very next play, Chuck Worsham off the direct snap through a huge hole created by the Adams offensive line, takes it in for the score. 7-0 Eagles at that point. Washington moved the ball well at times in the second quarter. Jeremy Johnson goes up top, finds Tyler Davis here, and Davis will take it for about a 22-yard pickup, but the drive would stall, and Adams takes over, and Pulling goes to work again. He had a big first half on the ground with a nice little cutback run here. Gets knocked out of bounds at about the 34. They would eventually get it down to the 9-yard line, where Pulling, with a little help from James Jordan dragging him backwards, took him on in for the score. 14-0 at the intermission, and the numbers would probably belie the fact that Adams has had the advantage in this one.
And by the way, he was pulling him into the end zone, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we look at the numbers here at halftime, and Washington with some significant passing yards, while Adams did really well with the ball on the ground. And total yards favoring Adams, but they had a couple of big plays that played into that. Penalties affecting Washington a little bit more. And turnovers, just one. It was against the Panthers down near the goal line. Time of possession actually favoring Washington because Adams scored a little bit quicker, but 24 plays for Washington, 22 for Adams.
One more comment on these numbers before we take them down. You know, if you've watched Adams football over the last couple of years with Ira Armstead, look at the rushing yards and the passing yards. That's almost a direct flip of what you're used to seeing from an Adams football team. Antoine Jones has really turned this around. Part of the reason is that young man, Chuck Worsham, had the first touchdown of the game tonight. They've got a good running attack, a big offensive line, and they took Washington to its own little playbook with some ground and pound there in the first half. And the Eagles lead at 14-0 at the intermission. For those of you watching on the internet, on Facebook or YouTube, stick around. I'll give you some scores. The rest of you come on back for second half play-by-play after this on 46. Friends, this edition of the TV 46 High School Game of the Week is being brought to you in part by Crown Trophy. They're nationally known and locally owned. Normally at this time we would bring you a Bills Heating sideline report, but our sideline photographer and sideline reporter, Matt Kowalski and Bo Hunt, have been removed by the South Bend School Corporation communication director tonight for doing their job. So apparently it's up to me to give the sideline report. I'd love to give you the analysis. I think right now if you're Todd Stamage, you get the first possession of the second half. You got to be able to do something with it. You try to tell your team, you know, you score on this first drive, all of a sudden it's a 7-point game. We can make anything happen. If you're Antoine Jones, you might want to make some tweaks defensively, but right now I think he's got to be very pleased with the ground and pound style of his team, Bob. And if I'm him, I'm going to try to wear this young Washington team down with my size up front.
You know, during the week, Chuck, we were talking about this matchup when we found out that we were going to be doing this game. We were talking about Ira Armstead now being in college, and he's a terrific athlete. But will Adams be a better team unit than maybe relying on one guy? Now, in Ira's defense, he didn't have many people to throw to, didn't have many people to hand off to. They had so many injuries. But the big talent is gone, and we wish him the best. He was a really good kid and a good quarterback, but it's a little bit more of a unit-looking thing for Adams right now, and I'm not sure if they led 14-0 last year in any of those games.
No, I'm pretty sure they probably didn't. Not when they were giving up 40 points a game last year, and now they've given up 0 in the first half. But Todd Stamage, positive, upbeat guy. He knows that he's fighting a little bit of an uphill battle this year when you had a team with so many seniors last year, and you're bringing in inexperienced players this year. But we mentioned in the first half, as the season goes along, he's hoping that this team can gradually improve, and surprise some teams. And, you know, it's interesting. We're scheduled to have Adams in a couple of weeks against Riley at Jackson Field. And a lot of people thought, well, maybe that's just a showcase for Riley. They've got a D1 player in Tyson Lee. If Adams plays like they have tonight, they'll give him a game. Here's Cohen with a pooch kick, a spinner that goes over to the sidelines and rolls out of bounds. And that will give Washington good field position to start the second half.
Chuck, one of the big plays in that first half was the pass early on as they went to the tight end Elijah Reynolds, 6'4", 205, big target. They didn't go back to him the rest of the half. I'm sure Adams made some adjustments, but I think if they're going to have success, Washington have success in the second half, Reynolds is going to have to be part of that.
So the Panthers will take over at their own 35-yard line here. 1st and 10. Jeremy Johnson, I thought, for a sophomore, acquitted himself pretty well there in the first half. Didn't make a ton of mistakes. Knew when to throw the ball away, knew when to tuck it under. You can tell he's got a little bit of experience in this system as a quarterback.
And the ball that was intercepted at the goal line was well thrown. His receiver was right there. Just a great play by Adams.
So Johnson on 1st and 10. Adams stacking the line of scrimmage. Fumble, ball loose. Eagles have it. Exactly what Washington didn't need. Damon Holloway comes up with the fumble recovery, and you'll get another look from Aegis Dental Group. Johnson put it right in the belly of Marshawn Lottie. He just didn't close the arms. It bounced off his pads and out to the middle of the field, and Holloway was right there to cover it up.
Well, the Eagles in great field position. They're going to mark it at about the 43-yard line.
So now the question is, if you're Adams, lots of times after a turnover, you go right for the kill. Do you try to go deep right here and make something happen, or do you go back to what worked for you so well in that second quarter especially?
You got a running back like Worsham, and quarterback's done a nice job.
It's Worsham out of the Wildcat. Worsham trying to get around the outside, does escape a couple of tackles, and finally Elijah Reynolds brings him down at the 34-yard line. That's a pretty nifty pickup of 4 for Chuck Worsham that time.
Yeah, he ran about 15 yards to get the 4, but he just kept moving forward. I really like the way the Adams Eagles are going north and south when they got the ball. Now look, he could go right here, could go wide. Now he looks and he cuts back and then up the middle and then picked up the extra 2 or 3 yards.
I think one of the things you're seeing too is teams have not had a lot of chances to work on tackling, and that has shown tonight as Gavin Pulling on the carry takes it up to the 25-yard line. A first down sponsored by John Adams High School. Our third quarter sponsored by Derek Dieter for St. Joseph County Commissioner.
Nice gain. Good work that time.
Pulling's got to be right around the 100-yard mark now for the night. 1st and 10 from the 25. It's Worsham this time, and Worsham darts to the inside and carries for about 4 yards.
Absolutely right, partner. He's at 106 according to our unofficial stats.
Meanwhile, Chuck Worsham spotted at the 22, so only a pickup of 3 that time. For a member of Chad Johnston's basketball team, boy, they should be good again this year. They bring back a ton of juniors from last year, now seniors. And they should be one of the forces to be reckoned with in a very competitive NIC.
Hopefully it'll be a great year.
Bad snap. It gets away. Picked up by Davion Patterson, but he's dropped at the 37-yard line. So the second time we've seen that tonight for the Adams Eagles. It happened on the first play of the game, and now here for a 15-yard loss.
That's just what Washington needed, a way to maybe stop this attack by Adams.
And again, there seemed to be confusion as to which player should be taking the snap, whether it should be Patterson or Holloway. And now whistle's blown and a timeout called down on the field, and it's going to be taken by the Adams Eagles with 9:48 to go in the third quarter, and Adams up 14-0 on Washington on 46. This edition of the 46th Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Imagineering Finishing Technology, saluting the players, coaches, and all the team members who work so hard to be successful at IFT. We put our team to work for you, setting the standard for metal finishing solutions. Reach us at iftworldwide.com. Like the teams in this game, we're working for a great finish.
Yes, they are. And hey, how about our guy from Imagineering? He's been such a great sponsor, Jim Hammer, Adams High School grad. I'd be excited about what the Eagles are doing tonight.
Sent me a little note today, so he's fired up, as I think a lot of people on the east side are as they watch this one tonight. 3rd and 22. It's James Jordan on the counter play, and Braden Hudson's not having it. Hudson, the 5'11 junior middle linebacker, comes over and makes the stop. It'll be 4th down, and Antoine Jones, I think, will go for it here as you get another look from Aegis Dennis Group.
You'll see if you can get some of it back, if not all of it. But got a lot of different looks, counter plays, that kind of thing. So let's see if they try to get Washington maybe moving from side to side. Maybe they can take advantage. But if nothing else, they've run a good 3 or 4 minutes off the clock with this possession.
DeMond Holloway has a good arm. He is also the Eagles' punter. So let's see what they do in this formation. From just inside the 40, Antoine Jones wants a timeout. And we'll keep it right here.
We want to thank St. Andrews Products for helping our crew look good tonight. They are ready to do the same for your team. Reach them at sales@standrewsproducts.com. With all the top lines in apparel, business gifts, and advertising specialties, ready to help your school or company at St. Andrews Products. Our answer is always yes. Now, what's the question?
Now I want to remind Antoine, Mom is watching Pequot, Ohio tonight on either the Facebook or the YouTube. So don't say anything untoward, Mr. Jones. Something that might have learned from Lou Holtz when he played for him at Notre Dame. Antoine took Washington to the state finals in 2011 and was the coach the last time the Eagles won a football game. That says October 5th, 2019. That should be 2018. When the Eagles beat Washington 27-7. 12-game losing streak coming into this game, but they've looked good for 2.5 quarters here tonight.
And again, a high school coach is also a teacher. I mean, number one, you got to be a teacher. So we witnessed last year a lot of frustration as far as the scoreboard, but again, Antoine and the staff working with these young kids.
DeMond Holloway throws it too far for Sidney Jeffries, and Washington turns over Adams on downs.
Good looking throw.
Jeffries looked like he had gotten behind both defensive backs back there. And Holloway throws this one too much on a line drive. Doesn't really give Jeffries a chance to run under it. And the other thing is Sidney didn't really turn his head looking for it.
Yeah, it was he had gotten behind the defenders, but it was a well-thrown ball. I'm impressed with the youth, obviously, in the backfield for Adams, but also the quality of play.
Our buddy Mike Enright watching the game in Connecticut tonight on either Facebook or YouTube.
Hey, Michael.
Here's the handoff to Marshawn Lottie, and Lottie can't get away from Agent Cody Barnes, who gets him there for a pickup of about 1 on the play. Barnes has been really active in the middle quarters of this game tonight.
Lottie with 8 carries now, 36 yards. It's not a bad total, but they've kept him corralled pretty well. Again, I got to see a player or two thrown to their tight end, Elijah Reynolds. He's just such a big weapon.
And he looked good in that first quarter. Boy, what a beautiful sunset here at TCU School Field tonight. And this facility, as we mentioned, first starting to host football games back in 1926. The stands that we sit on built in 47. And it's gone through a lot of renovations, but it looks fabulous here tonight. Here's the throw by Johnson. He finds Tyler Davis, and Davis almost got away on that slant pattern. Jeremiah Love brought him down at the 44-yard line. A first down sponsored by Derek Dieter for St. Joe County Commissioner. You get another look from the Aegis Dennis Group.
Good 18-yard completion.
Jeremiah Love's been making some big tackles for a long time. He played on that Pop Warner State Championship team, or National Championship team from South Bend back in 2013.
Over 100 yards passing now for Washington in the ball game.
And that's the opposite of what we saw from the Panthers last year.
It sure is.
Marshawn Lottie on the carry here, and Lottie battles his way hard to get up to the 42-yard line. To put that into perspective, here are the numbers from last year for South Bend, Washington. They averaged over 203 rushing yards per game and just 22 passing yards per game, already over 100 tonight.
Doing a good job, and again, you adjust to the talent that you have. Student athletes at Bethel University strive for more than victory in their chosen sports. Bethel is also committed to nurturing a flourishing relationship with God, developing servant leaders, and achieving academic excellence. Discover the opportunities for students and student athletes at betheluniversity.edu.
Collision in the backfield there, and Anthony Figueroa is thrown for a loss of a couple.
Number 22, Anthony Figueroa on the carry.
Figueroa was almost tackled as he took the handoff that time by Davion Patterson. You'll get another look here from Aegis Dental Group. Cody Barnes, again, a disruptive force on that play. Barnes at the defensive end spot has had himself a whale of a game. And again, I know we've mentioned it a couple times, but you have to remember, this Adams defense gave up 40 points per game last year. What an improvement they've made on defense.
They had a lot of film to look at, but they could look at it and say, we don't want to do that.
Johnson.
Another left-handed throw.
Yeah, he was fortunate and went forward, so it's an incomplete pass.
Do I have to keep a separate stat record on right and left-hand throws? I don't think so.
Get another look here at this left-handed throw from the right-handed quarterback, and it didn't go forward by much, but just enough.
Just enough. 4 out of 9 now in the ball game.
So 4th down, and let's see how Todd Stamich decides to play this here. Play clock all the way down to 14.
Well, do you take a... Nope, we're going to take a timeout. I thought maybe they'd take a penalty, but they're going to take a timeout. And folks, we want to remind you to dive right into Bontrager Pool's newest location at 1718 South Michigan Street in South Bend, where you can get everything you need for your backyard oasis. BioGuard chemicals, hot tubs, grills, and more. We are Michiana's premier pool and hot tub experts. Bontrager Pools. Dive right in at Bontrager Pools. They've been serving the Michiana area for over 3 decades with 2 locations, one in Elkhart, one in South Bend. And I think we just got a report that Bo Hunt has gone to Bontrager Pools and jumped in the pool to cool off. Maybe
I wouldn't blame him if he did.
No.
Nevertheless, we look forward to having Bo with us in future broadcasts. We'll get this situation resolved. Score updates, Central Noble on top of West Noble now 13-6. That game is at the half. Marion and Mishawaka ready to start the 3rd quarter over at Steele Stadium. They're tied at 14. Also tonight, Angola with a 31-12 lead on DeKalb. And just scrolling through the scores here, we gave a lot of them to you at halftime. East Noble now leads Plymouth 21-0. That one is approaching halftime down in Kendallville. Here's a throw deep and over the head of Tyler Davis on the 4th down play. Davis had gotten behind his man. If he caught that, Washington's on the board. Instead, Adams will take over at the 44. One more look, and that's a well-thrown ball, but Tyler Davis just didn't have his hands in the right place.
Yeah, he took a shot. Now they need another stop. They got to get the ball back. Again, when you think about Adams not able to convert late in the first half, it could be a one-sided venture, but right now Washington needs a stop, maybe a turnover.
Jeremy Johnson will develop along with this Washington offense. Again, I've liked a lot of what I've seen from him tonight, and that was a well-thrown ball as well.
Yep.
Not afraid to try different things and try to make plays. Meanwhile, Adams comes out here with that backfield of Pulling and Worsham, which has been dynamic on the ground tonight. It's Worsham this time. And he goes right up the middle of the field, and Chuck Worsham is off to the races. They're not going to catch him. That's 56 yards and an Eagles touchdown.
Heartbreaker.
Touchdown, Eagles.
right down the middle of the field. Thanks to that big Adams offensive line, the big Hogs up front really opened up a hole. And you'll get another look from Aegis Dentist Group.
56 yards for Worsham on that carry.
A great finishing block up front by Claude Neely. And Worsham was off and running. Cohen on to try the extra point out of the hold of DeMond Holloway. The snap is low. Holloway with a good hold. The kick is up and good. And with 5:39 to go in the third, the Eagles are soaring on the east side tonight. Chuck Worsham with his second touchdown of the game. 21-0 Adams in the third on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week brought to you in part by Intera Credit Union. They promise excellence to you, investment in local communities, and strong integrity. Join in at InteraCU.com as we get another look at the Chuck Worsham touchdown in real time. There's the block by Neely on the other side, but it was the big fellas up front. Caleb Rauch, Nolan Rose, Josh Thompson, Sean Brown, and Auden Jones, who really helped open things up for Mr. Worsham, and he was unscathed. Kickoff sponsored by the Dieter Dream Foundation goes out of bounds. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 35 for Washington.
Folks, the Field Scholars Program at Bethel University gives students the chance to earn a bachelor's degree with little or no debt. The program relies on partnerships developed with local employers, giving students hands-on experience while gaining valuable employees. Learn more about the economic and the becoming a part of that Fields program at Bethel University, and you can reach Bethel at betheluniversity.edu. What a terrific idea. Get those people involved in their respective skills and trades.
Another score update, Triton leading South Central. That game is 13-7 at the half. John Glenn on top of Boone Grove, 14-0 at halftime. Some of you are trying to get some other scores too. We'll pass them along when we can. 21-0 the score here. Adams on top of Washington. Jeremy Johnson under center. Hands off to Marshawn Lottie. Couple of yards, but then Davion Patterson slams the door on that. And that's the thing. Washington just has not been able to break off any big gainers here tonight.
No, they have not. And Lottie's a big, strong kid. He picked up about 4 yards on the play. Lottie's over 40 yards now for the ball game.
East Noble now on top of Plymouth 24-0. That game has finally hit halftime. Culver Academy with an 8-0 lead on Tippecanoe Valley. That game at the half as well.
It's a good matchup. I guess Joe Barron's having an off night. Oh, wait a minute. He graduated from Plymouth. Boy, what a exciting player. And they lost some pretty good seniors last year again. John Barron will have them playing better football by midseason.
2nd and 7. Handoff up the middle, and a struggle for a couple of yards there. I think that might have been Figueroa on the carry that time. It was. So Anthony Figueroa, member of the wrestling team there at Washington High School, picks up a couple of yards and makes it 3rd and 5.
Derek Dieter is a Republican running for St. Joseph County Commissioner in District 2. Derek's been serving the community since 1975 as a South Bend police officer, a city council member, a coach, and a mentor. Derek believes strongly in family, law and order, and patriotism. Vote Derek Dieter on November 3rd, paid for by VoteDieter.com.
Mishawaka now with a 21-14 lead on Marion in the third. 3rd and 5 here. It's Johnson to throw. Out in the flat, overthrew his man, Tyler Davis. And it'll be 4th down and 5. And let's see if Todd Stamich runs the punt unit out there with the ball in his own territory.
Well, you could always be hoping for field position change and maybe a turnover, but ball's in your hands. You need about 6. I think his players appreciate the idea that he's going to roll the dice here.
Well, his punter is standing behind him, and that's big Elijah Reynolds, the tight end. And I think Todd is going to let the clock bleed down here and then take a timeout and talk about it. And that's what he'll do with 3:59 to go in the third quarter. So we'll keep it right here and remind you next week on TV 46 there is more high school football. A couple of teams that last year played in a 3A regional, and that could be the matchup again this year if all goes well for both, but we're a long way from that, aren't we?
We certainly are.
Knox with Russ Radke as the new head coach goes over to Wetulski Field and takes on the Marion Knights with Maddox Begonia and Malcolm Anderson and that exciting offense that Mike Davidson has. So that should be a fun one. Knox and Marion next Friday night, 7:30 kickoff for those of you who like to watch it live on the internet at YouTube and Facebook. And for those of you who like to watch the old-fashioned way on TV 46, Friday night 11, Saturday morning at 9, the way it's been since, well, you got things started right at this field.
31 years ago.
Yeah.
Wanted to mention that, Knox is playing Marion in week 2, but they had a big matchup set with Winnemac, which would have been just classic because the head coach at
storylines, yeah,
gone to Winnemac. So a lot of things, and we had looked middle of the week at doing LaVille playing host to Bremen, and they canceled the game because of the COVID-19 scare. But we want to send out our best wishes to Aiden Doyle, the quarterback at LaVille. Just before they chased the teams off the field at practice, he injured his knee, and we're hoping that he makes a full recovery. And he was asking the IHSA to move the season to spring so he could be ready to play. But Aiden, take care of that knee, buddy.
4th and 5, Jeremy Johnson lobs it down the field, intercepted by Chuck Worsham at the 37. Second interception for the Adams secondary tonight. And boys, Antoine Jones fired up on the opposite side for Adams.
3 turnovers in the game tonight. And that's one of the big factors for Adams. They've taken advantage of the youth. Again, not a badly thrown ball. If it had been about 8 yards longer, I think maybe a completion.
Worsham having a heck of a game. 2 touchdowns on offense, an interception on defense. And standing there with Gavin Pulling on the far sideline, waiting for their turn to do more. 21-0, Eagles on top. Again, looking for their first win since 2018.
Still 3 minutes, 53 seconds to go in the third quarter.
We've seen games turn around in this amount of time. Here's a run up the middle again for the Eagles. This time it's Davion Patterson on the carry. I think that's his first carry of the night for the 5'10", 215-pound sophomore.
I believe it is, partner.
So Patterson, who has played quite a bit at linebacker tonight, gets a carry at running back and picks up 6.
4 yards to go.
But again, give credit to this John Adams offensive line. Not a senior in the group. 3 juniors, 2 freshmen, and they have been battering Rams here tonight. They get another first down here, sponsored by John Adams High School. This time it's Demond Holloway on the carry.
We're developing some depth in the backfield, aren't they?
And that's one of the things that Antoine Jones mentioned, is he felt like he had more weapons in more places this year. We've barely called the name of Sidney Jeffries on offense tonight, and he had 1,100 total yards last year. But this is a team that Antoine Jones believes can run the ball a lot more, and he's been doing that a lot tonight. Holloway trying to find a crack here, and he'll get taken down. Ball pops loose, and Adams was able to pounce on it back at about the 50-yard line as James Jordan makes the recovery.
Chuck, I believe he was trying to find a way to get up the field.
Well, watch Holloway here. Stumbled, and then he had some room to the outside, but when Tyrone Davis came and bulldogged him from behind, that shook him up a little bit. And he didn't really have that ball tucked away that well either.
Nope.
2nd and 9 for the Eagles right at the midfield stripe. Adams trying to get off to a good start here in the 2020 campaign. The direct snap this time comes to Davion Patterson, and Patterson runs for a first down into Washington territory at the 36. 14-yard pickup for the sophomore. Another first down sponsored by John Adams High School.
Patterson getting some good work here tonight. Worsham's been a proven performer. Did a nice job, too, out of their quarterback, who's looked really good. He came out early after a mishandled snap, but he's been back in there and doing a good job. That's a pretty good threesome to threaten the defense with some running ability.
Marco Gonzalez with a very nice block that time for Adams to help spring Patterson. Now here's Holloway trying to take it up the middle, and he picks up about 6 or 7 on the play. So Adams just hammering away at the middle of what has to be a very tired Washington defense right now.
90 yards on the night now for Worsham. And Chuck, one of the things too is it is a hot night when you've been out there a long time and you're not really used to it because it haven't been out there much. It's certainly a test, but I like the way both teams look like they're in pretty good shape. Look like they're ready for tonight.
Tell you what, you look down there at Nolan Rose, the big 6'5", 305-pound guard for Adams. He stands out in that huddle down there. 2nd and 6, waning seconds of the quarter, and a flag thrown and whistles blown. As we've got a false start called on Adams. They've done a good job in limiting penalties tonight as well.
Yeah, they've got 4 for 20 yards tonight, which isn't bad. Washington over 60 yards in penalties.
So 2nd and 11 now, as Gavin Pulling's going to come back into the game here for Adams. And you mentioned that depth in the rotation. I think it's really showing now for the Eagles here in the second half.
Yeah, we mentioned, you mentioned about Jeffries not being an integral part of the offense a whole lot tonight. And I've been watching the last 2 or 3 plays, and he's really helping to seal that defensive thrust from Washington. So he's a big young man, and he has the ability to do that. He doesn't mind contact.
Here's the snap to Pulling around the left side, and Pulling has the first down and more. First down sponsored by John Adams High. It's going down to the Washington 23. So a nice pickup of about 17 on the play for Gavin Pulling. He too having himself a night. And that'll do it for the 3rd quarter of play from TCU School Field on the east side of South Bend. Well, east side, west side, all around the town, they're fired up for high school football tonight, but no more so than the John Adams sideline, because they've got a shot at their first win in a couple of seasons with a 21-0 lead on Washington on 46. Chuck Freeby, Bob Nagel, Bo Hunt back with you from TCU School Field. Well, Bo's not with us right now, as we take a look at a lovely sunset in the city of South Bend, looking out past the Liberty Tower on your right, the KeyBank building on your left, and a great facility here at School Field. Bill's Heating sideline report right now would tell you that man, Todd Stamich, just trying to keep his team's dauber up right now. Obviously, they came in here with some hopes and at times have moved the ball well, but they've really never had a scoring threat tonight go up against Adams.
No, they had one throw that came down around the goal line, but it was intercepted and returned nicely by Jeffries. But he'll keep teaching, he'll keep working.
Meanwhile, Gavin Pulling on the run, squirts between tacklers and has another first down inside the 10 all the way down to the 6. What an effort that time by Pulling, who just would not be denied. And you can tell the Adams players are having some fun tonight. You got a really nice block from James Jordan. And then Washington's players, the fatigue starting to show in the tackling effort.
123 yards tonight from Pulling, and check so many times he looks like he's ready to go down. And he's not an overwhelming player when it comes to size. He's listed at 5'10" and 185, but he's a strong young man. He's able to carry some tacklers with him, and he's feisty.
Member of the baseball team. It's one of the reasons they like his arm. Here's Worsham out of the Wildcat. Worsham trying to pull over tacklers. Worsham all the way down to the 2.
Number 4, Charles Worsham.
Man.
And you can see a little bit the fact, I think Adams has some superior athleticism in places too, as we have a Washington player down on the ground. But you can also see when coaches weren't able to get players into the weight room and do a lot of conditioning in the off season, where that plays a factor here.
No question about it.
And granted, it was true for Adams too. I'm not trying to make excuses for Washington, but obviously Adams with some more veteran players, it's showing up tonight. Injured player down on the field, 11:01 to go, 21-0 Adams on 46. And this edition of the 46 Game of the Week brought to you in part by Teachers Credit Union. TCU, find out how you can become a member today at tcunet.com. We're at TCU School Field. Maybe the best seats in the house. Up there on the services building, I bet those are a couple of the maintenance guys here. Vince is one of them. Yeah, he helps us out a little bit.
Is that Joe up there?
And now Joe's at his son's rehearsal dinner tonight.
Joe Pankowitz?
Yeah.
Oh. Appreciate all his help getting us set up for our broadcast tonight.
2nd and goal from the 2, and Damon Holloway lost his helmet, and there's going to be a face mask call here on Washington. And that'll be an automatic first down.
It's only a 1-yard penalty, though, because you're at the 2, half the distance.
So you'll get another look here on the Aegis Dental Group replay, and Christian Johnson went headhunting that time, and
Mr. Lottie,
the face mask came off of Mr. Holloway.
Yep. And if you lose your helmet because somebody pulled it off, you don't have to leave the game.
Although you might want to, because it's not a very comfortable feeling.
Well, you got to look around and find your ears. Wow, what a terrific start to the season for the Adams Eagles. And again, you think about the frustration they went through last year and had some big moments, just couldn't get over the top. And here you are, banging on the door again, leading by 3 touchdowns.
And they could make it 4 right here. It's Holloway around the left side. He gets an escort to the end zone for a touchdown. Lamont Holloway on the board, and it's 27-0 Adams.
42-yard touchdown run.
So the Eagles continue to pound it away on the ground, and they get a touchdown now from Damon Holloway, the 6'1", 190-pound senior. He got some pretty good blocks that time from Pulling and Jeffries on the outside.
Yeah, and you don't see anybody complaining, hey, I would have liked to score that touchdown. We're all, again, a very good team unit looking like they're heading into a great season here at Adams.
So Cohen on to try the extra point out of Holloway's hold. Snap was low, and Cohen's kick is off the services building and no good. So it's 27-0 Adams here with 10:24 to go. To put it in perspective, over at Clay Field on the north side, Clay has a 7-0 lead on Osceola Grace. Adams and Clay combined for 1 win all of last year. They may combine for 2 in week 1 of 2020.
Oh, it is a different year, isn't it? No question about it. Derek Dieter is a Republican running for St. Joseph County Commissioner in District 2. Derek's been serving the community since 1975 and now wants to continue as your county commissioner. Does not matter what party you're affiliated with, you can vote your party and still vote for Derek Dieter on November 3rd. Paid for by VoteDieter.com.
So if you're looking ahead to what these two teams are looking at next week, John Adams has Woodland coming in here to School Field. Then we'll see them again in a couple of weeks when they play Riley at Jackson Field on 46. And then they've got St. Joe, not too far from here, about a mile actually, over Father Bly Field. Then Washington goes to Bremen, so I'm sure they'll be watching that Bremen-St. Joe game tomorrow afternoon with wary eye. Kankakee Valley comes here to School Field in week 3. And then a big challenge when they have Elkhart from the North Division of the NIC coming on over in week 4.
Penn and LaPorte tomorrow, or Penn and rather Valparaiso tomorrow.
We have 3 Saturday games tomorrow. That'll be the first time we've had 3 Saturday games on opening weekend since 1995. Valparaiso Penn was the one that piqued the most interest when we put up the poll today on the 46 Sports Twitter feed. But you also have Bremen hosting St. Joe, and then you've got LaPorte at New Prairie. If fans could still go to games, that would be a nice way to spend a Saturday. For many of you, it'll be searching them out on the internet.
Well, we're getting some messages sent to us, people listening to our broadcast or watching our broadcast. Internet got a call from a friend in Ottawa, Illinois. And his first question was, are you guys really playing football? Yes, we are.
Yeah, I believe they moved it to the spring in Illinois as the kick is caught over on the far sidelines by Devin DeVries and run out of bounds at the 32-yard line. So that's where Washington will set up shop. 1st and 10 with 10:23 to go. Yeah, you think of the young men up in Michigan right now. Their season has been pushed to the spring as well. And that was after practice had already started for the fall. Ohio is having a fall season. Kentucky, an abbreviated season. But it's been interesting to see what different states are doing. And we're grateful that we still have some football to watch here in the fall in Indiana.
Right, we're quick to point out that nobody's wrong. I mean, everybody that's making decisions is trying to do it in the best interest of public safety, safety of the players, the fans, the coaches, the teachers, administrators. It's a tough situation, and I tell you what, these staffs are really swimming through it, trying to make it happen, and we salute them.
Jeremy Johnson hands it off. The cut is made by Tyrone Davis. Well, he's back in the game after being banged up just moments ago, and he's got a first down sponsored by Derek Dieter for St. Joseph County Commissioner. And all of our kicks tonight have been sponsored by the Dieter Dream Foundation.
First down there for the Washington Panthers. They haven't had a whole lot of those tonight.
So 1st and 10 at their own 45. Noel Townsend a little bit gimpy as he comes up at the line of scrimmage as the center. One of 3 seniors on this Washington offensive line. Johnson hands it off. It's Tyrone Davis again, cutting to the inside and looking strong here as he runs for 7 yards.
Number 7, Tyrone Davis on the carry.
Cody Barnes in on the stop again for Adams. Barnes has had a very solid game defensively. We told you earlier, Davis, a high jumper on the track team, went to Todd Stamich at the beginning of the season. Last year he was a cornerback, and he had always dreamed of being a lockdown cornerback. And Todd said, "Do you mind if I move you up to linebacker?" He says, "Coach, whatever you need."
Nice.
So Todd moved him up to linebacker. He says, "Do you mind if I move you up to defensive end?" "Coach, I already told you, whatever you need."
Washington, by the way, just went over the 100-yard mark rushing in the ball game. They've got over 100 yards passing.
Fumbled snap, and Johnson falls on it at the 49-yard line. Loss of 1 on the play. It'll set up a 3rd and 4. And these are the kinds of things that happen in the first game of the season, especially with a sophomore quarterback. He's thinking about 100 things on that play.
And, you know, they always talk about how as the season goes along, the game slows down. You know, as you get your wheels under, you get a little bit of whiskers out there, the game slows down a little bit. Right now, it's got to be like a freight train in Spain going about 200 miles an hour.
It's funny you should mention that, because when we were getting ready to do Bremen and LaVille, I had gone down to Bremen practice, talked to Ethan Nunemaker. He's a junior quarterback, started as a sophomore last year. And that's exactly what he told me about the first scrimmage, as Figueroa runs here, lost the football. Scrum is on the pile. Adams says they have it. And the officials say it is Adams football. 4th turnover of the night for the Washington Panthers. It looks like James Jordan came out of the pile with the loose ball, the 6-foot junior. And you get another look from Aegis Dental Group. Figueroa had the ball stripped out of his hands by Davion Patterson. And by the time anybody realized the ball had popped loose, Jordan was the first to get there.
Well, Antwan Jones would love to have about an 8-minute and 7-second drive here at the end of the game.
1st and 10 for the Eagles.
His ball club got to be feeling really good. Congratulations to Adams on the hard work they put in. And again, coming off an 0-10 season, you'd say, well, I don't know if I want to go out. But he kept everybody focused, and they're reaping the benefits of all that hard work.
So you see Sidney Jeffries, he's had a quiet night offensively, did have an interception on defense, has had some big blocks, and a timeout called by Antwan Jones here, as he wants to make sure his offense knows what it's doing here with 8:08 to go in this one. Well, we've talked a little bit about what these two teams have coming up. We've got some different looks in high school football this year. Some conference shuffling. Mishawaka has left the NIC. They've gone into the Northern Lakes Conference. Elkhart Central and Elkhart Memorial have consolidated. Now you have just one school, Elkhart High School. And Josh Shattuck's team licking their chops, waiting to get on the field against Mishawaka next week at Rice Field. I think both those conferences kind of look very competitive as the season gets underway here. If you had to pick a favorite in the NIC North, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, you've got a conference with Elkhart, Penn, New Prairie, Marion, St. Joe, and Adams. Who do you like in the North?
Well, I got to move Adams up a couple of notches, that's for sure. St. Joe still has to prove themselves. They had a tough year last year. Marion is a good team, but you know the big thing about Marion is a 3A school. Can you stay healthy until the playoffs?
Right.
And if you can do that, that's going to be tough. We were talking about that with LaVille and with Bremen. You know, they get the same concerns. You got to stay healthy, but boy, at the top of that conference, somehow I just think Elkhart, with all the talent that came over from Memorial, that's going to be a tough opponent. They can run it up the middle. They can pass it. They got a lot of weapons.
1st and 10, Damon Holloway taken out of bounds at the 48-yard line, pickup of 5 on the play. Well, we have Elkhart and Penn on the schedule for week 5 of the season. I think a lot of people will be curious to see that game over at Rice Field in Elkhart. Now, how about the Northern Lakes? You take a look at teams like Warsaw, Mishawaka. We'll see them play each other in week 4. Northwood, Northridge, Concord. I mean, you got a stacked deck over there, too.
You got that right. A lot of people thought, well, Mishawaka is going to maybe take an easier route and go to the NLC. I don't think so.
No. Direct snap to Davion Patterson. He gets a first down, sponsored by John Adams High School, as he carries the ball up to the Washington 45-yard line. And, of course, you got a new field over there at Northridge with artificial turf. So they will join the turf squad there in the NLC. Very few teams now in the NLC left with just natural grass. It's Mishawaka, Northwood, and Concord.
And I know Mishawaka has some plans down the road, talking with Dean Huppert this summer. They'd love to tackle that problem, but in due time. They've done a lot of renovating there at Mishawaka High School. Beautiful campus.
Flag thrown here as DeMond Holloway trying to weave his way through tacklers to the 22, but it'll be coming back for what is likely a holding call here against Adams.
You know, Chuck, Tom Wogelman's team over at Northridge has really learned how to win. They've learned how to work, and that's one of those games where, okay, we played Northwood, we played Warsaw, now we got kind of a night off against Northridge. Good luck.
Well, and that's who Adams was supposed to play in week 1. So now that you've seen how Adams plays, boy, doesn't it make you curious what that Adams-Northridge game would have looked like in week 1. Of course, all the Elkhart County teams sidelined in week 1. The Elkhart County Health Department finally allowed them to practice with contact this week, and then they will allow games beginning next week in Elkhart County. And some of those Elkhart County rivalries, Goshen Fairfield, Elkhart Concord, and Northwood Jimtown, got scrubbed off the board tonight. Direct snap to Gavin Pulling. The quarterback takes it around the right side. A stop-and-go move on Terrence Johnson.
Wow.
And Pulling still on his feet. Boy, it's a rugby scrum, and he finally goes down at the 37.
Chuck, I thought he might get 2, maybe 3. What a strong young man.
17-yard pickup for Pulling on the play. And you get another look from Aegis Dental Group. Trusted dentistry. And look at Pulling get into the middle here. That's 3-4 tackles that he broke. And then all of a sudden, you kind of wait for somebody to come out of the pile with it.
140 yards rushing tonight for Pulling, which is a big weapon. Worsham's at 100 yards, and they've had some nice carries by Patterson as well. Not much in the way of penalties. They've passed the ball a little bit, and well, I tell you what, between the two quarterbacks, 159 yards rushing.
Well, an official's timeout on the field, 5:50 to go in the ball game, and Adams up 27-0 on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by the Indiana High School Athletic Association, partnering with TV 46 for 30 years.
Chuck, you know, we mentioned there's a little repair job going on there, but some smacks going on down there in the field. We've mentioned the teams and what they've overcome, the coaching staffs and everything. We should really thank our crew as well. Boy, you talk about overcoming some obstacles, and nobody will see it on the air, and nobody, they don't really care. We care, but I tell you what, they've really come through. Dean Corsmo leading the crew. Thanks so much to those fellas in the truck.
Trust me, you don't want to know how the sausage is made. Pulling throws out to Sidney Jeffries, who breaks a tackle, and Jeffries spins away from more people before he's finally taken down at the 26-yard line. Another first down sponsored by John Adams High. First time we've seen Jeffries catch a ball tonight, and he looked like a pinball in a world of bumpers. Just bouncing off of people and finally got taken down, and we've got another Washington player down on the field at about the 28-yard line.
Boy, Jeffries is a weapon. Now, one of the things, we said they haven't gone to him much in the ball game. They did there, obviously, but, he plays so much on defense, and he's such a stalwart on the defensive side that you can't wear him out, especially on a night like this. But I'm sure he was on the sideline saying, "Hey, Coach Jones, could I have one, please?"
So another Washington player being tended to here on what was a very hot day, and you just wonder about hydration sometimes and if players are drinking enough water. I'm sure that will be emphasized next week because it's supposed to be a hot week next week. And so Knox and Marion will probably be in a pretty surly mood by the time they get together at the Tulske Field on Friday night. Russ Radke's Redskins with a dynamic quarterback in Zach Rose and pretty good Cade Short at receiver, goes up against this Marion team, which is in a dogfight with Mishawaka tonight. They trail 27-21 in the third quarter. Maddox Begonia, Malcolm Anderson and company. Should be a fun one over at Tulske Field. Join us live on YouTube and Facebook at about 7:30, and then you can see it the old-fashioned way on TV 46 Friday night at 11 and Saturday morning at 9.
Boy, it's nice to have a veteran quarterback that they Fisher over at Mishawaka. He's a talented young man and runs that offense well. He's going to get a good look at the mirror when they play Warsaw.
So Pulling lining up at quarterback here, but we've seen a lot of direct snaps. Pulling wants to throw. He's going for Sidney Jeffries in the end zone. Touchdown, Adams.
Nice.
Well, that's what we told you about Jeffries, is he is that kind of playmaker. And Pulling lobs it up there, and Jeffries, who had 12 touchdowns last season, gets his first of 2020, and the lead goes to 33-0.
And the passing yardage in the ball game now over 50 for Adams, but boy, they ran the ball with authority tonight, almost 300 yards rushing.
Don't be surprised if Adams goes for 2 here to maybe make it a running clock situation, but they did not. They did not.
They're going with the law firm again?
Cohen, the kicker's so nice they named him twice.
That's right.
Comes out to try the extra point. And a false start called on Adams will move him back 5 yards.
I'm not sure it's going to bother Antoine Jones too much.
Meanwhile, a halftime score over at Jackson Field, where Michigan City on top of Riley 35-0. They are in the fourth at Steele Stadium. Mishawaka with a 35-28 lead on Marion. Wawasee leads Lakeland 42-0 in the fourth as Cohen's extra point hits the upright, no good, and it's 33-0 Eagles.
Well, Mr. Cohen will go back to work, and he hit it with good authority, just been a little bit off in the last 2. Kind of hard sometimes for a kicker kicking into that building. Building's only about 15 yards behind the upright. Trying to make an excuse for him. It's missed the last 2, but boy, it doesn't really matter at all tonight.
Central Noble leading West Noble 20-7. That game now in the fourth quarter. Let's see if we can find some other scores from around the area for you. Reminder, our fourth quarter being brought to you by Derek Dieter for St. Joseph County Commissioner. And our kickoff here, sponsored by the Dieter Dream Foundation. Chesterton leading Hobart 7-0 over in the region. White Sox leading the Cubs by a 5-0 count right now, in case you're interested in that.
I'm not.
I didn't think you'd be interested in hearing that part of the score.
Yeah. Hey, we ought to mention that our good buddy John Finneran covering the game for the South Bend Tribune. He'll have a recap of this game and does a great job with his previews as well. Great to see John now in his second year. Actually, he was here when they played the first game here in 41, you said?
26, if you really want to get pushy about it, as the kick goes out of bounds. And Washington will take over on downs, or not on downs, after the penalty here. 1st and 10. And I think they can take it where the ball went out of bounds, which is the 37-yard line.
Well, you got to get a chance. Really, both teams have a chance now to maybe get some kids in there that you weren't sure if they're going to get a chance to play. And again, the baptism of fire goes on for both teams. You see some of the younger guys there for Washington, and all part of the process. You got to get that experience.
So Jeremy Johnson leads his team back out on the field, and the sophomore, Todd Stamich, wants him to get as much varsity experience as he can right here. And quite frankly, the nature of this pandemic right now and what it's done to high school sports makes you less likely to just put your second unit out there sometimes, because it might be the last time some of these first unit guys play. You never know from week to week. Hand off to Tyrone Davis. He cuts it back against the grain and goes down at the 43, 44-yard line. Pickup of 6 on the play for Mr. Davis, who's played a strong game on both sides of the line of scrimmage tonight.
Well, we mentioned Washington's gone over 100 yards rushing. They've been well over 100 yards passing tonight, and got some things that they can feel good about. But well, I tell you what, I think everybody thought this would be a back and forth and maybe a fumble would decide it. And it's been a factor, the 4 turnovers for Washington tonight, but Adams looks good.
Well, Adams playing a very strong game on both sides of the line of scrimmage tonight. Handoff goes to Davis again. He broke 1 tackle, got the first down. That's sponsored by Derek Dieter for St. Joe County Commissioner, and he goes out of bounds at about the 48-yard line in Adams territory. So Washington just trying to get some points on the scoreboard here tonight and avoid being shut out. The last time the Adams defense posted a shutout, ooh, it's been a while, kids. You want to take a shot at it, Bob?
I'm thinking it must have been in baseball.
Well, no, I'm talking football here. Talking football.
I'm thinking it was Bob Wilbur the head coach?
No, not that one.
Okay.
2014, they shut out East Chicago Central, 42-0. Craig Redmond was the head coach of the Eagles back then. So they're looking for their first shutout in 6 seasons. Davis around the right side. Gets away from one man. Finally, Worsham brings him down after another first down, sponsored by Derek Dieter for St. Joe County Commissioner at the 36-yard line.
46 yards rushing now for Davis in the game. Chuck, he did such a good job there when he got leverage outside. He maximized it. He didn't go way wide and avoid contact. He kind of rode right along the side of the defenders and got as much as he could.
Davis may wind up being the leading rusher for Washington in this game, and he didn't touch the ball in the first half on offense.
Right. Lottie carried the ball a lot in the first half. DeVries had a few carries, but Davis has been exciting. Saw him on a couple of kick returns as well.
1st and 10 from the 36. Now it's Lottie off the right side. They were all looking for Davis, and Lottie's still on his feet. Goes out of bounds at the 23, and then it's a flag for a late hit on Adams.
Well, we've seen some really good runs tonight.
The running backs have been keeping those legs moving, and Lottie certainly did here, and then Brandon Taylor took him down well after Lottie had gone out of bounds, and you'll get another look here on the Aegis Dental replay.
Aegis Dental Group is sponsoring our replays this year. Great to have them on our team. Trusted dentistry.
So with the half the distance to the goal line penalty, that takes the ball down to the 11-yard line. 3:01 to go. Let's see if Washington can find some pay dirt here on this drive. Johnson hands it off. Davis trying to get around the right side, made a nice cutback. And then he was taken down on a good open field tackle that time by Kayvon Hudson, a senior. And we've got a flag on the play.
49 yards for Davis in the ball game and 55 yards for Lottie.
And it's a personal foul, and it's going to go against Adams for that face slap right there. So that's 2 penalties in a row for Brandon Taylor, and that earns him a ticket next to Antoine Jones and then well behind Antoine Jones.
That's right. Adams has done a pretty good job. Now they're at 50 yards in penalties on the night. Washington doing a good job. They are a little bit, 63 yards in penalties.
First and goal from the 5. Marshawn Lottie, and he got a whole lot of white jerseys out there to surround him and drop him for a loss of 2.
Boy, they stood him up, didn't he?
Sidney Jeffries was the first one to make contact, but he had plenty of company. James Williams, Cody Barnes out there as well.
Good pursuit angles and good contact. And when you think about what Adams is bringing to you defensively, and Jeffries 6'1", 190, fully grown.
Second and goal from the 6. Under 2 minutes to go in the contest. Davis dropped the football, and Adams recovers it. Cody Barnes, the 5th turnover of the night for the Washington Panthers, and Adams is going to have its first shutout in 6 seasons.
Wow, 5 turnovers in the ball game, a big factor. Huge factor in this game. Chuck, I think one of our keys to win tonight, talked about that aspect of what you're going to do to try to win a football game here tonight. We had as one of our keys is possession is 9/10 of the law. And Washington has given it up 5 times.
Yeah, and on that replay, you could clearly see Tyrone Davis closing his hands up before the ball got to him. It didn't give Johnson anywhere to put the ball, so the ball bounces right off of Davis onto the ground, and Barnes is there to make the recovery.
Well, I'm thinking a couple of knees here. And the Adams Eagles, they can't walk back, but they're pretty close. Washington heading out to the west side to be back at work on Monday.
They may fly back tonight. 12-game losing streak will be snapped on the east side of South Bend. The snap to Gavin Pulling. He lost the football, and now Washington pounces on it. So don't proclaim the shutout just yet. Terrence Johnson with the fumble recovery. And Washington back in business deep in Adams territory.
First turnover of the night for Adams. You know, the West End Bakery has gone out of business, but they're making a lot of turnovers here tonight.
Braden Hudson with the strip. And it was Terrence Johnson on the recovery.
17-yard line, best field position tonight for Washington. They'd love to get that goose egg off the board.
I think it just does a lot for a team's mentality to know that at least you were able to score. And it's not as though Adams has taken the first-team defense off the field.
By the way, it's settled down a little bit. It's probably in the mid to upper 70s right now as opposed to what we had earlier.
Very pleasant. Here's the handoff to Davis. No, that's Devin DeVries, excuse me. And Devin DeVries works his way up to about the 13-yard line. Pickup of about 4 on the play as we have 90 seconds to go in the contest. And another late flag comes in as things start to get a little chippy between the two city rivals.
Hey, by the way, our thanks to the athletic directors and principals of our respective schools we work with. Bob Tull doing a great job, athletic director over at Adams, and we had some great cooperation from their principal as well.
Jim Seitz doing a great job over there on the east side. We thank him. We thank Garland Hudson. Worked with him quite a bit this week to make sure we got this game on. He's been fighting some back problems, but still managed to do a lot of work. Erica Williams in the athletic office, always working hard. Minute 20 and counting to go in this one. Jeremy Johnson wants to throw. The pass was tipped at the line of scrimmage and falls incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 11.
That almost made the turnover package a half a dozen. But again, Washington trying to find a way, get on that board. It's been fun. I tell you what, we were looking with so much anticipation, talking during the summer about Elkhart going over to Concord and get a look at the new school and the combined schools. And that didn't happen, and we were looking forward to, we got a chance to see LaVille and meet with the coaches, and LaVille and Bremen would have been fun, but for our thanks to Adams and Washington for allowing us to bring you high school football.
Ooh, a pop in the backfield, and a ball still loose, and there's your 6-pack of turnovers.
Wow. Yep.
That time making the recovery is Caleb Rauch. And you'll get another look from Aegis Dentistry. The Adams defense just swarming back there, and young Jeremy Johnson, his arm disrupted by the helmet of Cody Barnes, couldn't get a handle on the football, and then Rauch just kept coming with tenacity to pick up the loose change.
7 turnovers in the ball game. It must be early in the season, pardon?
Well, I don't know how much Adams has worked on the genuflect formation, but they'll get a chance to do it right here. Gavin Pullen going to get right in under center and take a knee and help kill the last minute 9 of this one. So the Adams Eagles will do something that they haven't done since 2016, win an opener, and do something they haven't done since October 5th of 2018, and that is win a football game. The last time they did that, they beat Washington 28-7. They'll win this one tonight by a count of 33-0, and they'll take on Woodland next Friday night here at School Field. Meanwhile, Washington has to lick its wounds and get ready for an improved Bremen team down at Don Bungie Field next Friday night.
Always a tough place to play.
So hugs all around. Of course, there's not going to be a whole lot of contact between the teams after the game for the social distancing rules. Probably a tip of the helmet from each side. But the Adams Eagles break the schneid and stop a 12-game losing streak as they beat the Washington Panthers tonight at TCU School Field by the count of 33-0. Antoine Jones looking over at Todd Stamich on the other side saying, well, what do we do here? Chuck Worsham had himself quite a game, Bob. A couple of touchdowns and an interception. The two head coaches bump elbows out at midfield and talk this one over. But there you see Chuck Worsham. We've selected him as our player of the game
Over
tonight.
100 yards rushing tonight, Chuck, and some big-time runs and great second efforts. We saw that from a number of players tonight. And it's good to see, again, that focus was not lost by the Adams Eagles, even though they went winless last year. They worked hard. A lot of these guys just had to get some minutes, had to eat up some minutes last year without the experience, and now they're back.
That'll do it for our TV 46 coverage of tonight's game. Our thanks to Bo Hunt for his sideline duties early on. For Bob Nagel, Chuck Freeby, once again a reminder, we've got more high school football for you next Friday night. As we go on over to Atulski Field in Mishawaka, the Knox Redskins and the Marion Knights in a huge collision of 3A Northern Powers. You'll see it live on Facebook and YouTube at 7:30 and on TV 46 next Friday night at 11 p.m. and Saturday morning at 9 a.m. You saw the names of our talented production crew who really spun this thing together in 48 hours, and certainly our thanks to the staffs at John Adams and Washington High Schools. We could not have brought you this game without their help. If you want to follow us on social media, we appreciate that at 46 Sports. Again, the final, Adams 33, Washington nothing. So long from the east side of South Bend.